Player coming at you with my first chaotic video. Real video for anyone who doesn't fully understand the rules of chaotic. So these are a bunch of my cards. Fire, Water, Wisdom. Again, Outperform, Power 5, and Initiative Fire. So you're probably gonna go first. The Love Ninja, he's amazing. I'm gonna call this my Desert Raiders deck. Ultra Rare Headmaster and Kaija. Ooh, these brand once again. Probably my favorite pull today. Elemental. This is up YouTube. Speed Player 8 here, coming at you with another match on Trade Cards Online. What is up YouTube? Speed Player 8 here, and what I have is 288 packs of Secrets of Velocity Alliances Unraveled.
What is up YouTube? Speed Player 8 here, and I have another live deck review for you guys. I know I've done a bunch of these recently. They're just way easier for me to do right now, and I really am excited to show you guys this deck. So just let me explain a couple things. So last week, went to a tourney at my friend's house where we played Chaotic, and so I needed to make this deck the morning before we went because I didn't have time to make it the night before. And so I was thinking, so I wanted to do some sort of air deck, and I realized I wanted to use Zerv, Monsoon Defender, in some sort of mixed format. And, you know, one thing led to another, and I came up with this. And I really wasn't thinking that this deck would be much. It actually performed extremely well. I beat two Underworld decks, both really tough, and I was on my way to beating a Marillion deck, but we had to stop that match. So this deck performed extremely well. I was really happy with it, and I just thought I had to show it to you guys, and I really think it's an awesome deck, and so let's just get right into it. So, first things first. Like I said, I wanted to use Zerv Monsoon Defender, and so my front line has two of them. Both have 65 energy, that's maxed, and I gave them both Vial Drivers. So this is an air deck, but it uses fire and air, mostly equal parts. So both Zervs are in here because they have those elements. He's just a really good fighter. Counters, he bashes on water creatures, because he gains 10 energy when he fights water creatures, as well deals an additional 5 damage. So if you fight a water creature, you're going to have extra 10 energy, fire 5, and extra 5 damage on all attacks, and so he is a really strong fighter in this deck. Another fighter I'm using, another Overworlder with Fire Air, Gimwe. This is a really good Gimwe I got in a trade. It cost me Zenith of the Hive Loma, which I think was fair because this Gimwe has max energy 65, max wisdom at 95, max courage at 80. I gave him the Zerium armor because it's one of my favorite battle gears, and you can almost never do, you can do no wrong if you have Zerium armor. And I also works really well with Gimwe's ability, so when he's dealt 20 more damage, single source deal 5, and then this makes it so that you're taking just the bare amount to use his ability, and so that's really good. And our back line, Tangath Toborn. I got this in a trade around Christmas time after I opened my Forge Unity box. My brother pulled him, and we did a trade for it. It only cost me a general standard, it's fine. So you guys haven't seen Tangath before. Stats are 50 courage, 80 power, 85 wisdom, 30 speed. Max energy at 65. I gave him the Sandstorm Shroud, so he can use he already used fire, so then he can use all the attacks in his deck. I put him in here for my defender, and so when my opponent attacks and I defend, he gains fire 5 if you control an Underworlder, disarm if you have a Mepedian, and element proof all element types 5 if you control a deity. He's really only in here because that fire 5, and so all my fighters will have fire 5. He only has it if he's defending, but the Gimwe has it innately, and then the Zerv's Battle Gear gives it to him. So he's gonna have fire 5 because I'm an Underworlder, and then disarm because I control a Mepedian. Those are his most crucial abilities in my opinion. His stats don't matter since this is an all element deck, and so yeah, let's move on. My Underworlder here, I chose Navana. I chose her just because she's a Mage and she has the 3 Mage counters, which is really useful, so I just cast 3 1-cost Mages with her. I gave her the Buy Mower Cycle, just really useful battle gear. Cracks open a match for you. Cracks open a match when you get the first attack, you just send them into the back lines. And then for Mepedian, I have Headmaster and Kaija's Secret of the Art. And he really holds the deck together because his ability, of course, your other creatures with air cannot be targeted, And so that means that your 65 energy Fire 5 fighters cannot be targeted by magic or abilities. And that is really what gives this deck an edge, because it makes it so much harder to beat them if you can't touch them and they're dealing lots of damage on your attacks. As per usual, I have him with a Weightless Energy Vessel to protect him and keep him around. And as well, Tangith will defend these two. And yeah, that's the creatures, so let's get into the music. So for my canceling / deny magics, I'm using Interlude of Interruption and Underworld Refrain of Denial. These work really well. And so obviously Nevena is going to cast the Underworld Refrain of Denial. And then the Interlude can just be cast by Gimli. Another music that's really effective in this deck is Song of Fury. You deal 10, and then your creature gains Fire 5. So that's 15 energy plus your the rest of your attack damage. So obviously I'm just going to cast that. Song of Stasis I put in here. I'm kind of afraid of Zamul, but again, your Headmaster protects you, so it's not that big an issue, and I did beat a Zamul Kopon deck. But again, if there's just someone you don't want to face, or say you can make your opponent waste a Biomotorcycle. So if it's their attack, and they sacrifice it and give it to a creature, so basically on the burst when they sacrifice it, you cast this, and then they will have wasted the Biomotorcycle, because then that creature won't be able to move. So that's just really good for controlling the game. Zerv can cast that. Howl of the Wind I put in here for 2 reasons. One of them, the main reason, is because Tangith and Nevena, Tangith has to be engaged to have air, and Nevena just doesn't have it, so Headmaster doesn't cover them. So say your opponent tries to like do something weird against Tangith, you can just give him air and then have Headmaster protect him. Same with Nevena, because what happened was my opponent tried to burn out Nevena with Consuming Cacophony, and so I just waited for him to cast his burn, and then while it was still in the burst, I played this, and then she gained air, and then she's protected, and so then that knocked out any targeting of her. So then she's going to cast that with her final counter. And so your 6th music is just Rhyme of the Reckless, always a good music to have, bounce and attack by your opponent. And then your remaining Zerv can cast that. The way the musics for these guys don't really matter. The way I do it is whoever is engaged, you use their counter so that you just get it over with, and then you use the other 2, whichever you want. Let's go with the locations next. Location deck is pretty standard, but also fairly effective. So I'm using 2 Lore's Chamber of Recall, as per usual, just gets rid of composters or anything else regarding the general discard pile. The really only disadvantage to it is initiative power, because your frontliners have around 30 or 40 power, so that's not good, but otherwise pretty good location. I am using one of my favorite locations, Kiru City, 2 of them. Since all your fighters are overworlders, they're going to gain the 10 energy. So, and if Zerv is fighting a water creature, that's 85 energy. Initiative Wisdom, so yeah, that's great. Another location I'm using that is really beneficial is the Underworld Coliseum. So all your creatures, your fighters rather, are going to gain that additional 10 damage on their first attack, and the initiative is speed. And so, you might not do too bad with initiative speed. One sec, guys. Because your Zervs here have, this one has C25, and this one has 75. So, your odds are not too bad of getting initiative with that. So, yeah, additional 10 damage. I threw in Illusionary Lake just to give water decks that much more of a headache, because they've already got Zerv in here, and then this one just removes their water, and then it can't get it back. So that's really good. Castle Pillar I just threw in for some counter gain, in case one of your musics gets cadenced or whatnot. This is just because your overworlders have high wisdom, 90, 95, 85. Don't worry if you don't have this, because it isn't ultra rare. You can easily sub this out with Gigantopolis or Rapsack Chime Grid for more counter gain, so you can put one on Nevena. The Flame Gate, again, because your guys all have Fire 5, so additional 5 damage on all attacks, as well as initiative. The Storm Tunnel I just threw in for boosting your air damage. Not too fond of it because of the initiative power, so if you have something better, like say you wanted to throw in another counter gain location, or if you have another Flame Gate, I would highly suggest doing that, just because I really think initiative is important, but it's not a huge deal. Alright, so
that is done locations, we done musics. On the attack deck. The attack deck is really good and really consistent, and one of the main reasons why this deck is also really good. So I have a Vapor Wipeout, you know, just in case of Newman's, Isaiah, in case Tangith loses his battle gear. 2 Flame Breach, because fire is really important, so you want to get your fire attacks back if you lose them. 2 Flying Advantage, fire, air, 0, you can get some 5 damage out of it, as well you can get some heal. Primal Smash, as per usual, that 20 damage can get you out of a lot of bad situations, always good to have consistent damage. Blaze Barrage, because of the ability, you'll get to cycle an attack card, and then it should be 10 damage with the frontliners, and then since Tangith actually has water there, you can get the additional 5, so 15. 2 Consuming Flame for about 25 damage. 2 Air Assault for 15 air damage, 20 in the Storm Tunnel. Confusion for fire air attack. You can use Clash Jet, I just don't because these guys can't win the stat check, only Tangith win the stat check. If you're facing a Ganem, then you'll lose energy, but whatever it's your call, it's just some damage. 2 Ember Swarm for 15 damage, fire. 2 Marksmans, it's an air attack, so you could get an additional 5 somewhere, as well as the 30 damage. I'm running mostly 1s in this deck, and then here come the 2s, so Sudden Flare, just because everybody gets that stat check, and fire, and there's a lot of 2s you can run with this deck, because I was thinking about Hakeda's fire deck, and he uses this as a 2 in there with the giveaways, so I thought that'd be good. I am running 2 Whirlwind Scythes, just because fire, air. You could run 2 Sudden Flares if you want, but I just think having both elements on the attack is good. It also drops your opponent's power there by 25, so that could be beneficial, so 50 total. And then your big attack in the deck is Plasma Arrow, the biggest attack you can do. So this was a really, this won me 2 very key battles, because at one point we were in the Coliseum, and I had my opponent's Brimflame down to 30 or 35 energy, and then I think I'd already used my Marksman's. So this was the only thing that was going to kill him, and then I got it. As well, I did this against Akiru. So yeah, it's really good, 30 damage, and then your opponent's creature may not be healed. So, yeah. That is the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. By the time you're watching this video, this deck will be up on Trade Cards Online. I will link to it in the description below, so you can vote on it there. Feel free to use it if you want, actually, because I really enjoy this deck, and I think people have a lot of fun using it. I guess you could use my creature's stats if you want. Here, I'm going to show you all their stats, so, you know, feel free to use this. I really like the idea of this deck, just very simple dual element. There's a lot of different things you could do. So, for example, if you have a Gimwe and you don't have Zerium Armor, but you want to use him, mine has 80 Courage, so what you could do is give him the Evergreen Tunic, always a good sub option for Zerium. I don't do it just because his max courage is 80, so if you hit him with like 1 courage lost attack, then his courage is going to go to 70, then he loses 15 energy. Some other things you could do, maybe you could fit an Adrenaline Flumer's Foe in here, but that is the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Not really sure what else I want to say. If you get any extra counters on Nevena, and you can use her ability, then do it, but otherwise save it for your music. And, yeah, guys, so, by the time you're watching this, I should have invented a clever title for this deck, which would be the title of this video. But, I'm SpeedPlayerA. Thank you for watching my videos, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the deck. So please don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Leave your comments below. I always love hearing from you guys. Tell me what you think about the deck. Tell me if you've done any sort of deck like this. Tell me, I don't know. Tell me if you have a Tangith and what are his stats or anything like that. But yeah, guys, that is my time, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.